What is up, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Wrestling with Kayfabe. We have currently got the King of the Ring tournament going on, and it is so exciting to watch. But how did the old kings stack up? I figured let's just do a tier list and talk about it. So right here, I have all 22 King of the Ring reigns, and Zelina Vega for the Queen of the Ring. She's only one, but I figured we'll throw her in as well. Even though she is the best Queen of the Ring of all time, how does she stack against these former Kings of the Ring? So let's start off in 1985 when the tournament began and we had Don Muraco beat the Iron Sheik. I couldn't find much about it. I tried Googling and just couldn't see anything that was worthwhile about it. So I'm going to give Don Muraco a B. Because he was the first of all time, so he started this trend, and you got to give him credit for that. But it wasn't memorable enough for us to say, oh, Don Muraco, yeah, he was King of the Ring. You don't really remember that for him. Now, if he would have been more King Don or King Muraco, and we got WrestleMania matches and stuff like that out of it, then I think it's easily an A or S tier. But since he wasn't, we really can't talk about it like that. A man we can talk about like that, though, was the second King of the Ring, as in 1986. Harley Race beat Pedro Morales for the crown, and we got King Harley. Now, King Harley is an A tier. I don't think he's an S tier. He could have been, but he never got a big push after that. I mean, Harley Race is a legend. He's an icon. He didn't need a push. But he became King Harley. It gave us WrestleMania 3 where Junkyard Dog versus Harley Race, where the loser had to bow to the winner. It gave us a lot of incredible moments. So it has to be an A tier. I mean, we still call him King Harley Race. He is the king. He's like Jerry Lawler. He's the king, you know? So you have to give him his props, and you have to give him an A tier or an S tier. I just don't think he really got to S tier level, unfortunately. Now in 1987... we saw Randy Savage beat King Kong Bundy. And that's how we got Macho King. But other than Macho King, did we really see anything? Savage was already a main event star. He already was doing WrestleManias. He was already this big name guy. It felt weird. Now, I like King Savage, so I'm not going to give him a D or F tier. But nothing really came from giving it to him. It would have been better to give it to many other people in the day and age. But hey, Savage won it. We got King Macho King. It was great. He's in 2K as Macho King, so we take that for what it is. But I'm gonna give him a C. He's just not top quality of it, but he's also not lower card. He's just a mid carder on this list. Now, Randy Savage almost won it in 88 as well, but lost in the finals to Ted DiBiase. And when I was doing the research for this and I was looking stuff up, I just forgot Ted DiBiase was King of the Ring. I mean, we don't talk about it. There's nothing big about it. Nothing happened from it, really. It was an F tier. Ted did really nothing major with it. We could have saw the $1 Million King. We could have saw him buy the crown or buy opponents to do more. He did have a no contest in the semifinals, as there was a step down from his opponent. I do forget the opponent off the top of my head, but the opponent did step down, so he got an easy round into the finals. But that was on a house show, because these were non-televised shows and they weren't pay-per-views yet. So it's just, nothing really happened. It's like they were doing King of the Ring, but they didn't know why they were doing King of the Ring yet. Which stinks, because we had already had, Harley Race and Don Muraco and Macho Man. And I'm not saying Ted DiBiase's a lower on the card than them or not as important, but those three felt like they at least had something going for them more than Ted DiBiase did when he won. But moving on from 88 into 89, And Strikeforce was the feud, as Tito Santana beat Rick Martel to help push the feud of Strikeforce breaking up. This is one of the only times they really fought at a pay-per-view against each other. And Tito, of course, came out victorious. But other than that, it just wasn't that good. I mean, I love Tito Santana. I love Rick Martel. I think they're great fighters. They're great wrestlers. They are amazing. But just nothing really came of it. So, I mean, I got to give it an F, and I'm going to put it under Ted DiBiase because at least Ted DiBiase was a main eventer. This never really helped Tito become that main event talent in the 90s. So, why rank him higher than Ted DiBiase, who was? Now we get to Bret Hart. Now, he won it twice in a row. First one against IRS, second one against Bam Bam Bigelow. So, how do we rank these? Now, I think we could rank them both similar because they're very similar. They was right after each other. I mean, he won it in 91, then he won it again in 93. It was just King Hart's reign. So, I'm going to rank them the same just because it was a continuous thing. And it feels pointless to say, well, in this reign until this day where he won the second reign, then this happened. So we're just going to rank them the same. It's the same reign. It's just one lump of time for me, so I'll move both pictures for that. But when he did beat Bam Bam in 1993, Jerry Lawler came out and said he was the true king. It gave us the Jerry Lawler-Bret Hart feud, and it helped push Bret Hart to new heights that we hadn't really seen yet. It was the start of his big coming-of-age moment out of the Hart Foundation and into the main event scene. And with that, I'm actually going to put both of them as their lump above Don Muraco and the B tier. I don't think they're A tier because we don't go King Bret to this day. We don't say, remember when Bret Hart won the King of the Ring and it led to all of these great moments? But you do have to say that if this never happened, we might not get Bret Hart versus Shawn Michaels. We may never get Bret Hart in the NWO. This could have changed Bret Hart's career for the better. Even though I think he would have no matter what, this was definitely a jumping off point. Moving on from Bret Hart, in 1994, Owen Hart beat Razor Ramon. And this was all to help set up, at WrestleMania 10, Hart versus Hart, brother versus brother, and for the steel cage match at that SummerSlam where Owen Hart challenged Bret for the WWE Championship. This had to lead Owen to being a star. I'm putting him below Harley Race just because, again, it's King Harley. It's not King Owen. But Owen Hart was truly an amazing talent, and this helped so much. So you got to give him credit where credit is due. Moving on to Mabel. Yes, Mabel in 1995. He beat Savio Vega for the King of the Ring. And I'm going to put this above Macho and C. I don't think he was a B tier because it didn't help as much as it looks like it did. We didn't get Mabel into a huge star, but he did become a main event talent after this. It gave him that push. I mean, he fought against Diesel for the WWE Championship at SummerSlam, as that was what King of the Ring used to get as a reward. He got a feud against Undertaker, and he got a feud against Yokozuna. So getting those three feuds in the 90s, mid-90s, is huge. I mean, it definitely gave him a main event push, but the reason why he's only a C tier is because, I mean, after we got Big Daddy V, we got Viscera, he just wasn't that main event talent. He couldn't hang with the top dogs. Speaking of top dogs, though, and this is the one I'm sure a lot of people are waiting for, in 1996, Stone Cold Steve Austin fought off against Jake the Snake Roberts, leading to Stone Cold winning King of the Ring. And Stone Cold took a microphone and gave one of the most legendary promos of all time. Austin 3:16 says, And with that, Stone Cold became Stone Cold. We got that push. The rattlesnake was here. He became a main event talent and changed the industry to this day. If Stone Cold never won that, we don't get the Attitude Era. If Stone Cold never won that, we don't get Austin Rock. We don't get Austin McMahon. We do not get Stone Cold if he didn't win the King of the Ring tournament. S tier, one of the greatest reigns of all time. I don't care he's not known as King Austin. This was where Stone Cold made himself a star. And he only got it because of the Click and Triple H getting punished and having to wait another year to win his King of the Ring moment when he beat Mankind in 1997. So this did lead to Triple H getting more success in WWE. I mean, he got the whole feud with Mankind after, and it helped him in a sense of the word, but not too much. As, I mean, he was already becoming a star, so what would this have done for him? He formed DX after. So, like, I'm going to give it a D. I mean, I don't really see where the King of the Ring really helped him. I know we're shifting, he's shifting. It did help him with some success, but he was a star. He was getting it. He was going to, no matter if he won King of the Ring or not. That's why they gave it to him now. Moving on from Triple H, we got Ken Shamrock beating The Rock in 1998. And this matchup, it led to absolutely nothing. Even on the card, it was not the greatest match. I'm giving it F. He is the lowest tier so far. I mean, on the same card, and this is just me saying this, Mankind versus Undertaker in the Hell in the Cell, where Mankind fell through the cell. He got overshadowed. Kane won the WWF Championship against Stone Cold for the first time. It just led to other moments that were more important than Ken Shamrock becoming King of the Ring. Moving on to Billy Gunn, who beat X-Pac in 1999. I'm going to put him below. He is going to be the lowest on the card. That he is the worst King of the Ring of all time, and it is all because of The Rock. He got on the mic and buried how worthless Billy Gunn was and pretty much destroyed Billy Gunn's career after that. I know he's still in AEW wrestling and he's doing great for himself, but he definitely pushed Billy Gunn back down the roster with that promo. So now we're in 2000 and Kurt Angle beat Rikishi, which is how Kurt Angle got the big push to get his first WWE Championship and got feuds with The Rock and Triple H. I'm going to give Kurt a C tier and put him above Mabel. He's not really needing to be in the B tier. He was given the stuff for it, but I mean, Kurt's Kurt. Kurt Angle's the greatest technical wrestler of the age that he won that in. He was a star. He was already getting there. He wasn't a mid-carder trying to become a main eventer. He was the main eventer just getting an extra little thing on top of it, which we see a lot in this era. But it did help after Billy Gunn and Ken Shamrock to get Kurt the thing, so he is a C, high C tier. Almost a B. I'd say he's right on the cusp, and you could put him in the B tier, and I don't think anyone complains. But I think the C tier is definitely where he's at. Next up, Edge beating Kurt Angle in 2001. Now, this King of the Ring tournament felt like WWE had lost their mind, because Team Wreck, Rhino, Edge, and Christian had to all fight in the semifinals, and it caused them to break up and led to Edge and Christian kind of feuding for the IC title. And we know that ended how it ended. And Edge, I mean, he's a Hall of Famer. He's a great legend, and this is an accolade in his hat. But I think think this did more harm than good. I mean, Team Wreck could have done great. Edge and Christian was a great tag team. And it led to the breakup of all of them. So, without it really leading to a main event title push right away, I'm just going to give it a C. I mean, the IC belt is important. But I don't think it's bigger than Macho King. I don't think it's bigger than Mabel. I don't think it's bigger than Kurt. Honestly, I'd argue it's with Triple H. So I'm actually going to move it down to D. Thinking about it a little bit more because, I mean, same reason for Triple H. He got more success later on, but I don't think King of the Ring is the reason why the success happened. And so you really got to take that into consideration. So yeah, I'm going to put Edge at D, lower D. And I don't see him moving from that spot. Next up, O2, Lesnar versus RVD. It did lead to Brock getting drafted to SmackDown, where he challenged The Rock for the Undisputed Championship at SummerSlam, similar to how Mabel did in 1995. And, I mean, it led to Brock winning. Brock Lesnar was the next big thing, and this definitely showed that he was. For that, I'm putting him in B tier. Brock wasn't a main eventer yet. He had just bursted onto the scene. I mean, he was a guaranteed main eventer. But he feuded with RVD for the IC belt before even getting drafted to SmackDown, and lost to RVD by a DQ, of course, but still lost to RVD. It did lead to the push right away, though, so I don't think we put it in the D tier. It has to be at least C tier, but he's a B tier because we saw that Brock grasped the moment and took it over. Next up, and we are in 2006, where Bobby Lashley lost to Booker T, and it gave us King Booker. And you heard that King right, because Booker's still called King Booker to this day from time to time. And with that, I got to give him an A tier. I'm putting him above Owen Hart, but below Harley Race. Just because King Booker became memorable. It was one of the best versions of Booker T. He reinvented his character, and he was able to really get it over with the crowd for an extended period of time. And that's an A-tier King of the Ring right there. And when we think about it, we think about him as King Booker. We think of Harley Race as King Harley Race. He is an A-tier all the way. And then we get to 2008, where on an episode of Raw, William Regal beats CM Punk. And that led to Kennedy coming out and challenging Regal during his coronation in a loser resigns match, and led to William Regal resigning from the general manager position of Monday Night Raw, and eventually led to William joining ECW, where he would get the feud with Christian for the title towards the end of it. So, I mean, it did moves, but it didn't help William. It kind of hindered him. No longer being Raw GM and just becoming a more active competitor again, sure. But Regal was killing it as general manager of Raw this era. I'm watching this era live right now. I actually just watched the King of the Ring where Regal got crowned, and I couldn't imagine seeing Regal not be that general manager. So I'm going to put him at D below Edge because I feel like it hindered him more than helped. We're in a tough spot now because the next few people, they won, but the King of the Ring tournament had shifted to being more lower mid-carders and non-main event talents and didn't really help anybody out. I mean, Sheamus, he was already WWE champion by this time. He was already in the middle of having a great career. He didn't need this, but he got it anyways, and he didn't do nothing with it. With that being said, I mean, I remember King Sheamus, but I don't know if you were talking to someone who started watching wrestling way before or way after would say, oh yeah, King Sheamus. I remember that off the top of my head. It's an F tier. Wade Barrett. He beat Neville in 2015. What happened to King Barrett after that? He's more known as Bad News Barrett. I'm putting him in F tier under Sheamus. But again, Billy Gunn's last. And then we get to Baron Corbin, who beat Chad Gable and led to Shorty G. He became King Corbin. And, I mean, not much really happened after that. I mean, Corbin just never got over with the fans. Again, F tier, below Barrett, but above Billy Gunn. Then we get to our last King of the Ring, which was when Xavier Woods beat Finn Balor and led to Woods versus Roman, with the whole Roman wanting to be crowned and the Bloodline versus the New Day. So it did help push feuds. And it gave Xavier Woods a little bit of a sense of belonging for a little bit that I feel like we don't typically get with Xavier. So I'm going to give him a D. Because it helps him for a short time, but not being overall of all time. Then Queen Zelina. She's the first Queen of the Ring. I threw her on this list just to see how she ranks with everybody else. And honestly, I remember the Queen Zelina. I mean, she did great for it. All hail the Queen, Queen Zelina. People, at least when I saw her live, because I went to a show at this period of time, people were chanting, "Let's go Queen," in the crowd. Now, I don't know if it was just that show or not. Don't get me wrong. I didn't really hear it outside of that show. But, yeah, she was over with it. And I think with it being the inaugural one, again, I'm going to give it a C. And I think that's where it belongs. Even with this, I mean, it helped her. It didn't hinder her any. Like, D is like it didn't really help you, or it hindered you, or you didn't do much with it after. Definitely not an F tier. But I don't think it's on the same level as Brock Lesnar or The Heart, or even A or S. I think it has to be a C tier. Let me know how you guys think of this list in the comments below. Leave your rankings. Tell me where I would change, what you would have done. What would you have done different? I'm interested to hear. Thank you all for watching. And as always, have a wonderful day.